trillions could flow through cryptos. And you and I, your award-winning Stellar XLM crypto developer, Zion Coin's founder, could benefit. And how is a question you're asking, obviously. Well, it's all about the fundamental facts of the matter. Because without the fundamentals, looking at your charts isn't going to do nothing because the asset won't exist. Clearly. Now, to understand what's happening fundamental within the markets, yes, we need to dive deep into the core of that particular asset, the core of the group of that particular asset. But we also need to understand what's going on in the macro markets. So what gives weight to the whole market, to every market? And that really is the 10-year yield. If you're checking the 10-year yield constantly, seeing where that is, that's going to give us an idea of how well the crypto markets are going to do, how well the stock markets are going to do. If rates are high, well, there's just not going to be enough liquidity flowing around in the system for people to want to take risk on. And really, cryptos is a high risk asset. So really, what is happening in the news in terms of cryptos? Well, for that, you can jump over to zioncoins.net, where you'll be able to see all the latest listings of all the assets, over 5,000 assets. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll be able to see our news feeds. But firstly, my suggestion is that you look at things like sentiment. So we've got the fear and greed indicator, which gives us an idea of what the sentiment's like. And at the moment, it's pointing at 67. So we're in the greed zone, but prices are relatively low. When you look at assets like XRP and Stellar, they're actually medium, but they're one of the top performing assets, right? So these indicators are lagging, okay, and could be more biased towards Bitcoin. So just be aware of that. But it gives us a rough idea, because actually Bitcoin is sitting at around 96.6 thousand K, and I do believe it went up to 97,000. So over the last few hours, it's 96.5 thousand. Ethereum again 1800, same as yesterday. XRP 215 on the dollar, and XLM 27 cents. So they're up to 1% across the board, with a few laggers, but for the most part, those assets are doing well. So what is happening in the news? Well, Bitcoin races above 97,000 K on US-China trade deal progress. It's what's believed to be weighing into that small incremental rise. Not anything significant. Not a massive bull run spark, but medium term. So if you're day trading, little pockets of news may affect the market, and they may not. As I said, it all does depend on how well received that news is. And we've got the FOMC meeting coming up, which gives us an indicator what the rates are going to be doing, what the Fed are going to be doing with the rates. Are they going to be hawkish or dovish? And with this news, they may decide to take the same tact. We can look at predictions, but on the day, in any case, China trade deal progress, a foreign in the trade stance from the US and China has sent risk assets higher in the hours since US stock market closed on Wednesday. the current tariffs and trade barriers are unsustainable, but we don't want to decouple, said US Treasury Sec Scott Bassett, disclosing plans to travel to Switzerland to meet with Chinese counterparts for trade talks this coming weekend. Senior US officials have made a series of remarks hinting at adjustments to tariffs and have expressed through various channels a desire to engage with the Chinese. We have Senate Democrat says he's looking into Trump's crypto business. The leading Senate Democrat on the panel tasked with investigating corruption and mismanagement is scrutinizing US President Donald Trump's recent crypto activities and whether they're part of a pay-to-play scheme to provide access to presidency to the highest bidder. Richard Blumenthal, beg your pardon, the ranking Democrat on the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, a panel housed within the Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs, wrote letters to Bill Zanker to Fight LLC and Zach Witkoff, a co-founder of Wild Liberty. So that's going to be ongoing, obviously. You know, whether there is corruption or not is one thing or another. But this, what's going on with the president, should not affect crypto markets on a whole. And they shouldn't legislate just because a president may or may not have corrupt dealings in crypto. That's by the by. They should legislate because the technology offers a better solution to cut the corruption deep within the banking system. And we all know that's there, and we all know it's extremely biased. So, and if they decide to go the other way, then pretty much the people will go the other way. The people will revolt. You're probably looking at civil war. Just saying, because you're sucking money out from the people, you're sucking value out from the people, and you're leaving them with nothing. Bitcoin dominance soars ahead of FOMC as a volatility burst looms, says analyst. Bitcoin BTC tightened its grip on the crypto market on Tuesday, with dominance surging to fresh 4-year highs as crypto traders rotate into market anchor asset ahead of tomorrow's key Federal Reserve policy meeting. BTC held steady around 94 to 95,000 area and up a modest 0.4% over the past 24 hours, extending a tighter range trading pattern that has persisted since the weekend. Meanwhile, the broader market going to slip lower 0.7, but I think it's caught up now as we're talking. So New Hampshire becomes the first state to approve the crypto reserve law. Stable dollars, the third-party act of dollar reinventation. 8 decades of dollar history can be read as 3-act play act. And I was the euro-dollar offshore bank deposit that sprung up in the 1950s London. So the Soviet bloc, European exporters, and eventually every multinational could hold dollars as the petroleum dollar after 1974 OPEC's decision to price crude in dollars hardwired global energy demand to US currency and gave Washington an automatic bid for its Treasury bill. John D. Van Does will appear in the IEEE Times Consensus Research. That was a bit nonsensical, but okay, there was kind of snippets of sense there. I don't know whether that was generated by AI or not, but In any case, ECB establishes innovation hub to test digital euro as preparation phase nears the end. The European Central Bank, ECB, said it set up as innovation hub with 70 participants to test its digital euro project. The participants include startups, banks and payment services, including global professional services companies, Swiss telecommunications company, Spanish banks, tax firms, KPMG. Companies have signed up to work with the ECB on their digital currency. And yes, because we have seen something from Quant which suggests that the Bank of England's real-time gross settlement renewal is live, leveraging Quant's overledger for seamless blockchain interoperability. And this, I understand that Gilbert Ferdinand has been, and I know actually because I've seen the repo, I've seen the bridge software for Quant, which is based on the Ethereum smart contract platform, but it does actually bridge XRP. It hasn't bridged Stellar yet. I may work on that. I may work on that project as part of the Zion Bridge project. Funding. If you want me to create a Zion Bridge, decentralized DeFi Zion Bridge chain to chain, XRP, XLM, Quant, Ethereum, Sol, if you want, Bitcoin. What am I missing? Near maybe? I don't know. If you want me to do that and include that into an app, so you don't need a password, you don't need to download any app, you can literally use any of those assets to receive on your mobile device, create liquid markets with liquidity pools using the Soroban set of smart contracts, so you can get in and out of these assets. If you want me to do that, funding please. It's an 18-month project, you know, and yeah, we could do it. We've got the tech, we've got the know-how, we've got the team that could produce something like this. We're the first to produce passkey signing of smart contracts. We're the first to produce any sort of smart key implementation for Set24 payments on Stellar. So we have the knowledge and the know-how and the capability to do this, but we need funding. So if you'd like us to do something like that, open source, that could be included in the Zig3 V3 project, and you can chop that up and do what you want with it because it is open source. Create your own wallets. You don't need any third party ultimately to dictate to you as to what you should and shouldn't be doing. And that is how I believe money should be able to be moved. Okay? Interoperability chain to chain. In any case, that's your news update. If you'd like to fund us for a Zion Bridge project, as I said, it's going to be around 18 months to fulfill that. In the next coming months, we will have Zig3 V3 ready on the testnet, and then hopefully the month after that we'll be going into beta, where we'll be looking for testers. We are a little bit behind time, but these projects, you know, they run over considering we haven't got any funding for it. We're still cracking on. Lots and lots and lots of fun things to do. Lots of features. I would like to have that Zion Bridge feature, so get in touch. In any case, I'm Nathan, aka Nathan of Zion. Like and subscribe. Have a great day. Take care now. See you in the next one.